Hello there, everybody. Welcome on into today's video. Greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day, swinging on over, checking it on out. We are wrapping up DPR IAN's Soloist week here on the channel. Hopefully you are seeing this on the good old YouTubes. If not, and you're watching this on Patreon, thank you for swinging over to Patreon to watch it. I do appreciate it. But we are wrapping up his little solo series for this week. This video here came highly recommended. So many of you in the comments said it was a great little interview. The Zach Sang show interview here. So I was like, just add it in. Why not? Add another video in. That's the one thing I love about this little series is that I get a lot of feedback from you all in the first couple of videos. And then I'm able to kind of customize some of these last ending ones based off of some of your recommendations, which I absolutely love if I'm able to do it. And I haven't recorded everything yet. But this one, we got lucky, and I did not record everything yet. So we are going to be doing his last video. Now, next week, just a heads up, we will be doing Heize. I want to say Heize until somebody corrects me. We'll be exploring her stuff, which I'm very excited for. I've heard a couple of collab songs from her in past deep dives and things that I've checked out. So excited to actually check out her music without any features or being a feature artist or collab. So excited for that one. And then to wrap up the month, we're going to be doing Amber from FX. That will be the last one, and then I'll let you guys know who's on the list for May. Because we're going to do one more month of full soloists, and then in January, no, not January, June. Yeah. Whew. Okay. In June, we're going to switch it up a little bit, and I'll explain more in a post on the community tab later on this month, just to kind of give you guys all a heads up. But we're going to just jump right on in. Grab your drink, grab your snack. This is a long one, so this is probably going to be a little over an hour long, so buckle on up. Let's go. I am ready. I don't think we are going to need
Hey guys,
CCs.
this is DPR. Hey guys, this is DPR IAN.
Oh, okay.
Just finished the Zach Sang show, and we were talking about my downs, my ups, from clowns to a lot of this and that. So go please check it out.
Hello, beautiful human. My name is Zach. That is Dan, and we welcome to the studio, DPR IAN.
Hey.
Is
Thank
that
you so much.
pronounced correctly?
Yes, that is correct. DPR IAN. Yeah.
Talking to that bad boy. Eat that microphone for me.
Sorry. Yeah,
Make it a
DPR
little
IAN.
more
Yeah, that's right.
I want you to be comfortable, but you are a very soft-spoken person.
Yes, I am. It's a lot of the it's a lot of people misconcept that. They think I'm very like loud, I guess at first glance, image-wise.
Why? Is it your tattoos?
Maybe. Yeah, I believe so.
Your tattoos are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much. Every single one of them actually has a story to tell. Yeah.
When did you start getting them?
I think I started getting them about 7 years ago.
Wow.
It was just the first one I just got out of because it was just pure. I was just rebelling against my company at that time. Because I used to be in the K-pop scene.
Yes, C-Clown.
Yes. Oh wow. And you weren't meant to like get tattoos, obviously, as an idol, but I just went ahead and got one secretly on my chest. So.
What'd you first get?
It's just a motto that I live by. It's called be there, be down, be you. So it's just be there at the right place and always be down to do something, and then be yourself.
What was your company's reaction to it?
That's a great little motto.
At first,
I love that.
Honestly,
No.
I don't think they really cared.
Okay.
But then afterwards, when we would have to go up on stage and stuff like that, the costumes and stuff would have to be just catered to just completely covering it. So I think that's when they started like getting kind of pissed.
Why was K-pop a path that you chose to go down?
I don't know. Honestly, I came from a small town in Australia called Wollongong, and I was just brought up in a full like Caucasian neighborhood. So I had no like Asian contact or relationships. So I didn't really know too much about my own culture. So I think when I went to Korea, K-pop was like a huge culture shock to me.
Do you get discovered for K-pop before you go to Korea?
No, I got discovered in Korea, and it was pretty crazy because I was walking out to the convenience store, and they just street casted me. Like this gentleman in a suit, wearing a tie, just handed me out this, I guess, ticket or something.
Like a flyer?
Yeah. And
Like a
he was
flyer.
asking me all sorts of questions. He was asking me obviously how old I was, and I thought it was like some shady business type of thing, some like underground type of thing. So I didn't really consider too much.
It's wild that he was just picked up off the street.
Like it had the company's name. So I called my mom and asked her about it. She said, yeah, it used to be a fairly big company back in the days. So I went the next day, not knowing what I was walking into. It turned out I went to an audition, and I still remember you had like 30 people just waiting in a line. And I thought it would just be like an interview thing, but apparently everyone was like rehearsing, singing, and I had nothing to prepare for. So when it came to my turn, they were like, can you sing? And I was like, no. Can you dance? I was like, yeah, I could dance. Do you have anything prepared for us? I was like, no. So they ended up just taking the guy that went before me, used his track, and after that it was like, man, it's just so embarrassing because I was b-boying freestyle to a song that was just it was a comical song. It was like I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like it was by Psy, the Gangnam Style guy. So it was his song, but it was like a very interesting retro-y like beat. Nothing you would imagine b-boying to. So I think they thought that was funny. And they just kept me like going through the whole song, and at that point I was just like, oh man, I'm completely like screwed. Like, I'm fucked. And then I went home, and on the bus ride they called me back and they're like, come back in tomorrow. And that's kind of how it really started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an amazing
Did you
little
go
journey,
to
though.
Korea with the intention?
No, not at all.
Like, did you have any desire to be in entertainment or make music before even going?
Well, because I'm such a spontaneous person, I'm such a in the moment guy that whatever I guess piques my interest, I just delve right into it. And at that time, I was into like b-boying, dancing, and honestly, Korea at that time was absolutely blooming, with winning like championships. I'm not sure if you remember, but they were just dominating that world. So I just figured, I'm passionate about this. I want to do something with my life. I feel like Australia is not really the best place to be ambitious. It's such a peaceful and comfortable country that you become complacent with a lot of things. So, convinced my mom, and I guess after uni, first year of uni, I flew to Korea in the hopes of, I don't know what, honestly, I have no idea why. I was so ballsy, so I just went, no plan. And I just figured it would work out. And man, like the first year was just hell for me. Like, I remember just getting there. I didn't know how to speak Korean. And I just went door to door, like just random people's doors, and asking them if they wanted to dance with me.
What?
Yeah.
Did you film it?
No. Well, I think
I'm confused. That's very creepy.
It is. If you think about it now, it's pretty creepy. I guess that's how desperate I was, and that's how.
Were you looking for friends, or what were you looking for?
Friends too, but I think ultimately, I wanted to start a movement of some sort, and I didn't know what it was, but that was just my initial goal at the time, and I just. Oh God, I'm just like remembering it back now. It's so embarrassing. I can't believe I did that, but I did that. I went to door to door, asked people if they wanted to dance or if they knew how to dance, and if they didn't, I was like, I can teach them. And it was just a matter of convincing these people at the door, and they were just so confused with my broken Korean. So you can just imagine, my God, it was just insane.
Yeah, but why? Well, I don't understand. Why would you do this?
I don't know. I think it was...
What'd you gain out of it?
I think I was just hoping to gain just some type of, I don't know, like some type of connection with people to start some type of revolutionary movement. It sounds like a cult at this point, I know, but like, no, honestly, I just thought it would work out like that. But
Did it?
Well, coincidentally, the people that I did manage end up like hooking up with were at the time, you know, YouTube was just hitting off. So I had a lot of stuff on YouTube, and a lot of people watched my stuff for tutorials and stuff like that. And I guess one of the guys
started as a
messaged
dancer?
me, who is now like DPR
I need to
Live.
do more research on this.
We
He's amazing.
kind of met on there, you know, and he, you know, I was like looking at his dance videos, and I just thought, you know, maybe this guy could be it. And I just messaged him, and I gave him my number. We should meet the next day. And he was from Guam originally, but he came to Korea the same time I did. So, and then, yeah, it just kind of started growing from there. Like one thing led to another. And
so how soon into you being living in Korea do you get recognized and scouted for K-pop?
For me personally, it took about a year, I believe. It was just very random. And nor did I ever think I was going to do K-pop. Reason being, I just didn't know too much about it. And I come from a hardcore metal background. So I used to just, for me, like,
that does make a lot of sense.
Zen music is just a lot of like hardcore metal, grind metal. Like,
that actually tracks.
I was in a band before, so it was just, my world was just completely of that sort, you know. And then I guess when I came to Korea, it was just a cultural shock for me. I've never seen anything like that. I kind of thought maybe doing this just completely honestly, it would grow me an audience for later being able to use that audience to continue on with this idea of a movement that I had.
And it has, right?
Yeah, apparently so. And but Jesus, man, the type of stuff that I had to go through in that period of time was just absolutely hell. I had no idea. So I kind of walked into the lion's den at that point, and oh God, it was just a crazy experience. Like it not only is it me trying to adapt to the culture of Korea, but just initially like being a product, I didn't actually think they would take that literally, you know. So
but they do.
They do. I mean, you hear about it all the time. Like you hear a lot of cases of people coming out and, you know, just falling into depression, and they have all types of disorders. I mean, they'll do that to you for sure. I feel like nowadays it's gotten way better. Like it's kind of got filtered through with all the old heads.
Yeah, it's very different.
Very different.
Like the cream has really risen to the top.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's more consolidated in terms of what companies matter.
Right.
And are shaping culture in a substantial way.
Absolutely.
And the bigger the stars get, the more control, like the pendulum of control will swing in their direction.
Absolutely. It would have to.
True. 100%. But to be honest, like, you were a kid who's going to a convenience store that was literally some guy in a suit handed you a flyer. You have zero leverage.
No,
I don't give a fuck if you have the best voice that side of the globe.
Yeah,
you have zero fucking leverage.
That is true. Street casting is one of the... I think they still do it time to time.
I mean, by the way, almost majority of the K-pop stars who have sat on our couch where you're sitting today were scouted at malls, in Toronto, in Sydney, in LA, like literally
everywhere,
all over the globe.
Yes, it is a thing. Yeah, I mean, don't they do that here too? Like they kind of cast you like.
They used to have kiosks at the mall.
Right.
You go to the mall.
Interesting.
And some woman would come up to you and or your parent that was with you and be like, have you ever thought about modeling for your child? Your child has potential. Your child's really pretty.
Right.
Imagine your kid on the side of a billboard.
Right.
But like it's not the same.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, like, when you get scouted for K-pop, you actually get put into a program.
That is true.
And that
correct.
program could funnel a bunch of different projects.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it was also the notion that a lot of the kids, you know, they kind of fed this dream, and especially when you're like that young, obviously very naive. So I mean, I kind of signed my life away at that point, just thinking it would just come somewhat offer me an opportunity. The crazy thing about the scene in K-pop is, you know, we know of the big labels, like the bigger labels where, you know, you have now BTS, like JYP and all that.
SM, Hybe.
Yeah. So so you have that group, but then underneath those, underneath that group, you have a whole, like almost 1,000 other groups,
all trying to be the big guy,
man. And it's insane. Back then it used to be a new idol group every week. Now it's every day. And you know, and how I know this is you go to these music broadcasting stations, you know, when you get to see your, you know, like your idols on stage and stuff. There would be literally in the facility and in the waiting rooms, there's like the waiting rooms are also divided into, like, you have like the VIP waiting room and all that. And in one of the lower one of the lower waiting rooms, like they have just about like 50 groups that don't even get on to the stage, and they just arrive in the hopes of convincing the PD to like let them on just today, and then a lot of them would just go back.
Wild.
That's
everything set up during my time. We did that. Yeah.
So how do you define an idol?
Well, for me, technically, I always thought the term idol was obviously someone you look up to, you idolize. You know, it's like a role model. I think that's what was a little confusing in my time, because I think I first heard the term K-pop idol. So in just retrospect for me, I just kind of always thought that was, you know, like someone you really idolize, you know. So it was just interesting how they just turned that term into some. So I mean, in a sense, it's kind of like they are creating somewhat of a role model, but it's just the idea that role model is such a perfect picture image, right? For me too, like I'm Korean, but I was not like I had no, up till that point, I didn't really know what that looked like what a K-pop idol was. And I still remember when I flew into Korea for the first time, everyone was Korean, and that shocked me first. Pretty funny. And on these billboards, you had all these like very like mannequin doll looking girls, and you know, I thought, wow, that looks so nice aesthetically, like it's pleasing. And I find out later they're like a girl group and stuff, and they actually like perform and stuff. So that was very interesting.
Well, at what point into your time with C-Clown and the K-pop world were you like, I got to get out of here? Like, this is not for me.
Honestly, the minute I went in, but it's like, but I mean, I stuck.
Why'd you stick with it?
Just something inside me. I was like, you know, I wasn't gonna just back down out of this. Like I was too stubborn. We were trained. Every thing about us is every time we go into that building, we were told everyone's our competition. And by the way, guys, this is just like from my personal group experience. It's not talking for the rest, but and you know, it's like we just keep a narrow eye. So like, but then it's funny because like the first time I saw like our team was the only one like that is when we went to the waiting room, and every single other team would just be, you know, like collabing with each other, talking with each other, and I was just shocked. I was like, oh my god, like are they allowed to do that? But so, you know, and then occasionally you'll find someone that you know, and they'll come over, but then they'll send them away. And I remember the one of the most embarrassing times was we went on, so they do like pre-record, and you go about, you get ready at 5 a.m. in the morning, go get your hair makeup done, and then go to this place, and then you wait about another 4 hours.
Jesus Christ.
And then rehearse, dry rehearsal.
Damn.
And then you do another another rehearsal right before the show. And when you get up on the show, you do 3 minutes and you're out, and you have to wait until everyone finishes. So for us, we went up, one day we went up, it's one of our second promotions, and you know, like there's, you know, the red lights come on with the camera, so you have to fixate your eyes wherever it is. had a hard time, by the way. The light was just tiny as fuck. So it was just, like, sometimes when you're dancing, like, you miss it. But I think one of my members, he missed looking at the red light, because when that comes on, that's, that means the camera's on.
Yeah.
It's rolling. So he missed one of the lights. And then when we came back down, we just got like yelled at like crazy because he missed it. And then they made us like kneel in the corridor where everyone was like going back and forth from the stage to the waiting rooms. And it was just the most embarrassing. Like,
they made you kneel, which is like the most, it's either a sign of respect to someone you're kneeling to, or a sign of disrespect towards yourself.
Oh yeah, shame. It's shame.
Yeah.
I wish it was a sign of respect. I mean, I kind of wanted to make it look like that, but it was just,
no, bowing is respect, kneeling is shame.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is it like a hard process to adapt DPR IAN, or to at least make sure you're making the right decision when it comes to a name?
Yeah, 100% now. I almost, some could say I turned like a full 180 of my image just to get away from that image.
Yeah, but also, like, Christian Yu is a cool name.
Oh, thank you so much. I have a lot of names. Rome, Pardon, Christian, Ian, DPR. The reason is, for me, I'm such into characters that I've always identified a different part of my life to be a different character. Therefore, I would give that me of that self a name, a different name.
So if you do you create characters, or are they?
Oh no, rather than creating characters, because I'm not going to be the same me in 10 years and so forth. So I always hit a stage in my life where I know I'm transitioning, and whether that be from metal to K-pop to dance, and then now to this, to film. It just takes stages in my life, and I just kind of always like giving that a whole new identity. Yeah.
How do you define this stage?
So this stage is Ian. So DPR IAN. And
what does DPR mean?
Well, DPR, you mean our company's name, or?
Oh, so it is the company. I saw that it's a record label too.
Yes, it is. And we just had DPR at the front of it.
Got it.
So, yeah, it's very interesting.
So how would you describe the music you're making now? You go from metal to K-pop to what?
Metal, K-pop to just everything combusted into one now. It's like,
true, though.
It's just a whole array of emotions. For me,
gives you a lot of different genres.
For me, music was just everything. But for me, I didn't know, but music was everything only if I could imagine something like on it. So I'm a huge imaginer. Like, I love to imagine. Like, if I'm not doing anything, I'm just imagining, not doing anything else.
So when you say music was a big part of that, was it making music or listening to music?
Listening to music in the early stages. I remember elementary school, just go to the CD stores and, you could preview listening to them. I just based it on the album cover. I didn't know what. So a lot of the CDs were like Moby, Jamiroquai, and a lot, just covers that really spoke out to me. And I just took the CDs and I listened to it, and I was just blown away constantly. And I wouldn't leave the store until they'd kick me out, and I'd just go back home. So every Saturday, Sunday, I did that. It was such a, for me, it really filled my like highs. And then in middle school, I remember I went manic for some reason, and I didn't know what it was at that time, and I got diagnosed for bipolar 1. I still remember I was sitting in math class, and then all of a sudden I was okay, and then I started bawling out. And my friend was like, "You hate math that much?" And I was like, "I'm like, bro, you're not helping." And I just started like bawling, and then I freaked out, and I ran outside, and that journey from that to the toilet felt like a whole like trip of like things coming at me. Everything was like slow-mo, and it was just such a weird feeling I've never felt before, and I couldn't simulate it with anything. So I went home, and mom, it was like, oh, it's just, puberty or whatnot. But then it happened again and again and again, and that's when I went to the therapist, and it was apparently like a bipolar thing. It was genetics. It's just that my cell just kind of triggered during puberty. So my God, like trying to control that was just a hell of a ride, Yeah.
And what role does music play in managing that?
So one of the coping mechanisms that they offered me was to channel that through creativity, you know. And I mean, you hear it all the time, but creativity and bipolar or depression, they come hand in hand. So at that time, I was an outlet for me to really take this onto a fresh
fascinating
kind of like playground and do anything.
I could literally listen to him talk for like 500 hours.
However, you know, I sometimes wonder if that did me more harm than good, because it's like you've just shown me a world where you can absolutely do anything you want with the feelings that you have. Like, I, from that point, just ran with it, and it became my, you know, my secret spot. But it started getting bigger. The things that I kept sweeping under the rug got bigger. And once it's hard, because once you've, I don't know how to say this, but once you've like figured how to do this out, it gives you enough of a high and a manic to move on to something bigger and bigger and bigger. And it just has been mounting like ever so less, like it just kept building and building up to this point. And I just had to find a way to control it more and more, because my outlet was getting smaller. So I had to expand that. And it was just, I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's, I just don't have a middle ground sometimes. It's not sometimes, I think all the times. Yeah.
Which is kind of attached to the first tattoo you got.
Yes.
You're down for anything.
Oh, well, that's a good.
It doesn't matter the direction you're going. You're 100% and then some in that direction.
Yes, that is correct. I just don't like it how a lot of the times I make some of these crazy decisions, whether it be my highs or lows. There's a huge differentiation with your highs and your lows. That for example, if I started doing a project in my highs and I started dipping, I can't go back to that unless I'm back up. So there'll be countless times where I would make a song during that phase, and if I do not complete it during my highs, I would have to wait another cycle for me to come back to that. That goes to say same thing with my downs. You know, it's pretty tricky. Yeah.
So the first album, Mood Swings, in this order.
Yes.
And then you have a character, Maida, that goes along with that.
That is correct.
Can you explain like how you came up with that whole idea?
Yeah, sure. So Maida, I identify. So as I've just said, it's like I've been living with a lot of manic highs and lows, but every time I'm in that state, I change completely. Like it's as if my world's just been flipped upside down. And the crazy thing is, there's no trigger point. There's no trigger point to this. It just is a chemical switch in your brain. I think for me, I'm just sensitive even to weather. Like, so depending on the temperature of the air, if that changes, I change as well.
Can you feel yourself changing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But what's been scary is it's been long time ago. It was more of a gradual thing. Like I could just kind of feel the tip of it. Oh, then I know. So I kind of prepare for it. But recently, it's been just abrupt, like just and I think that's what really shook me. Like I was on shoot the other day, not too long ago, and I remember I just blacked out. I was fine. I was like talking to you, you know, as if I was talking to you guys right now, and I blacked out completely. And then I just the next thing I remember, I was in the toilet, and I was just like, the glass was broken, and I was just like shaking, and I don't remember a single thing during that blackout. And that's what really scared me. And because I would have that, but then I know if I'm coming to that point, I'll go home and I'll just lock everything. So I found a couple systematical ways that I do things. But anyway, sorry, going back to the Maida thing. So given that, I didn't just want to become any artist. As I told you, like a lot of the songs inspirations come from either my highest points or my darkest points. But I feel like it wouldn't have been right for me to come out as just me, because honestly, it's not me doing whatever it is. So I wanted to give that character power, persona, and more so tell my story through that character, you know. So he represents all that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you on medication?
Yes, I am. I had to take a few to come here. To be completely honest, I'm dipping right now, which is why I think I'm just like, I look kind of dead. Just to be completely honest. And it's just a cycle that happens constantly. Actually, I've never been on this radio talk show in this state, but it's definitely something that I'm still trying to figure out. You know, I'm still. It's a the creative outlet source. The things that I do. It's definitely. Oh my God! It is so destructive. Like, almost to the point where I know it's destructive, but I chase chaos in such a way where it's like it just entails me now, and I don't further ensue chaos to anybody else, which is why I think I'm so cautious and adamant to know willingly how this energy is really being portrayed or I guess influenced, because again, it's such a heavy topic, especially this next album, that if I'm not like too careful with it, I know it might send off the wrong energy, and I wouldn't like to do that, you know. Yeah.
So, by the way, you're talking about mood swings.
Yes.
Which is definitely very much tied to the conversation we're having now.
Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Does making music help manage any of this?
It's a good question. I don't think it helps me release, if that's a good way to say it. I don't think in the long run it doesn't help it though. I think it feeds in more into this dark pattern that I have, because again, it comes from the idea that for me to now use this as a reliant source of every time I go into these swings, it's almost like I'm abusing it, because I know once I'm in here or once I'm down there. In the beginning, I only knew how to use this when I was high, but as I got older, I started channeling that when I was in my lows, and I think that's when it got dangerous, because I kind of started fucking around, and the stuff that came out from here though was so much more impactful. It was, you know, that's where So Beautiful came out of, and my song Nerves, and it was just so much more beautiful, evidently just because everyone was more gravitated towards that. And I think that's when I started getting a lot more curious about venturing off into that manic side, and really just kind of juicing that out. And I think recently, during this second album, that's kind of when I feel like at a certain point I felt like I stepped over the line, because I started meddling with, I guess I know it's something dark, so it's dark energy, but I started really meddling with that, and it just really zapped the life force out of me.
Making music while in a manic state?
Yes, in a low manic state, but just completely abusing that. It's not just purely for this, you know, purely for music or purely for this story that I'm creating. And
but is it a story ripped from your reality, or is it
I would like to
imagination?
So. It's definitely a lot personal, but I've configured it in a way where it's relatively a fantasy. You know, it's a very interesting story. This time I'm not releasing a music video. I'm releasing a short film, so it's going to be very interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's fantastic.
By the way,
great.
Mood Swings is the album. It is out now.
Yes.
Link in the description below. Also, we'll be playing records from it right here on AMP.
Question. So Mood Swings in this order was the first one, and this the follow-up Mood Swings into order.
Yes.
Okay.
Little trick there, and you know, into. Yeah, I don't know what the third one's going to be, so if you have any ideas.
Wait, so it's not called Mood Swings?
No, it is, but the first album was Mood Swings in this order. The second album is Mood Swings into order.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
It's like the acronyms for MITRE. it's a very interesting name. I think I kind of gravitated towards it. Yeah.
Is Mito you?
In a sense, absolutely. Yeah, because he's me in my manic state. I don't think he's me when I'm like on medication. It kind of dumbs it down.
Do you acknowledge that you are someone different when you are in a manic state?
Absolutely, because the reason being is it's kind of like this. It's kind of like I can't recollect the thought process or the thought train that I had when I was in that state, and it's almost scary to the point for me where I just can't imagine myself doing something like that. Hence the blackouts, and I think it's very interesting because my face. I don't know how weird this might sound, but again, like how your mental really plays key into also your physical state. So when I'm in that state, my eyes sink in and just physically everything goes in, and it's just kind of weird that always happens. Yeah.
Mito too. Can I call it Mito too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Were a lot of these songs recorded when you were on medication or in a manic state, or is it kind of both?
It's both.
Okay.
Both. I'd say like maybe just one was when I was just mellow. But actually most of them, if not 99%, I'd say I was going through it. Yeah.
How does the song start for you?
It starts, you mean in this album?
Well, I mean, in general, is there one way? Is it a lyric? Is it a piece of production?
For me, it's imagination first. So I think of a character. I think about how that character feels, how he looks like, what he's wearing, and then I put that character into a setting, whether it be driving down a highway, just completely high off of something, and he's fuming, and his pedals aren't working, and it's night, and it's like you have like comets coming down. So I draw this visual image of my head, and then I imagine what that might sound like in his head.
Such a
different character
process.
every time. By the way, get a little bit closer to that mic.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Is it a different character for every song?
Yes. So just to give you a little backstory, this story that I'm creating is it's going to be pretty interesting. There's a god that creates this universe, and funny enough, this god is a clown. It's playing homage. Might as well make something out of it. What better god to have, right? And this clown starts, fucking around, and he starts making all these characters and stories in a reflection of who he is. He gives each character a story to tell.
Interesting.
And his first creation gets jealous of all the other creations. It's a bit biblical, but he gets jealous. And the first story that he's ever made, or the first creation that got jealous, happens to be an angel, an archangel. And this archangel gets jealous, and the clown obviously sees the dark in it and decides to banish him. But what that further does is it changes him into like the demon king that he is now. It changes him because he goes through a phase of betrayal, love, and that love to fury. And you see the transition where he goes from this to the darkness that he is. Cuts into present time. This guy hasn't forgot. He swears to destroy every single one of this god's creation. He decides to infect, not destroy, infect every one of his stories.
Interesting.
Making him the main character of each story rather than the Ian that he set out to be. So he does so. And until one day the clown gets
this is fascinating
to
just learning about his process.
Something a little something into this story that confuses this Mito. And pretty much he's trying to find a successor as well. So that just long story short, that's kind of the basis of what the story is. That darkness being Mito, by the way, the first creation. Yeah.
This is beautifully intricate.
It is intricate.
It really is.
And as much as it is a story that's, from your imagination,
yes,
could definitely hear the reality that exists.
Yes. Oh, that's nice then. That's good. I wanted to touch upon that too, for sure.
You got to listen to this body of work. It is very much out there. Is this going to be like a series?
It's going to be a series, a 2-part series. The first part, again, just the introduction to. I would say the first album, Mito, is more of showcasing Mito for the first time, not really exploring too much into depths. The second album now is talking about the origins, how he became to be, and present day story. Yeah.
What have you taken with you from your time with C Clown and as a trainee and applied to this solo
the clown
album?
aspect of it? That goes without notice. But I think what ultimately C Clown, the experience, led me to do was, like I'm a very expressive person through a creative medium. C Clown allowed me, it humbled me to pent that up, if you know what I mean. Like the amount of times I felt like I was deprived of really being able to show what I want to show, because again, it's not your dance, it's not your song, and you're not doing, you have no control over anything you do. You're a product. So I think that amount of frustration led me to really, really valuing the moment when I do decide to get to do my own thing. And I think because again, you hit your lows, and once you come back, you're like, okay, oh my God, I'm gonna kill this. And I think that drive, I was just like crazy about it. And that's why I thank them for giving me that drive. I don't regret a single moment when I was there, And obviously a lot of the people that I met, other teams, that was definitely a bonus, Yeah.
And I mean, you do have an audience that is continuing to grow and supporting you as you write your own stories.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like, I've never understood that concept. It's like, I'm not trying to be like humble or anything, but I really never, I guess I never thought to myself, especially with the word fame, because I don't think I was ever in it for something like that. I like the keyword audience. I want to grow out an audience to tell a story. An interesting thing, me and my friend was having a conversation. She asked me if I was an entertainer or a storyteller. And I had to really think long and hard about that, because I do love entertaining people. But then I feel like the only reason why I love entertaining, whether it be dancing, music, or film, is so
he's
I
a storyteller.
Ultimately,
he's a storyteller,
have a better
for
way
sure.
Convey the message.
Yes, convey the message in a very tasteful way.
You can be both.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, I think the greatest entertainers are the best storytellers.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. That's a valid point. Yeah, you're right.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
Like, the most original form of entertainment was a story.
Yeah, actually.
Even fables.
That's true. That is true. That's something to think about. Yeah.
What are you thinking?
The last question I had is, when you listen back to the music, can you tell the difference just by listening about what kind of mindset you were in?
Yes, but I, for example, won't be able to relate at all. Like, it's almost like its powers have been just stripped away when I listen to something. For example, a song like So Beautiful was like in one of my darkest times. That's why it's so eerie. When I listen to that now, I remember doing it, but it feels like I don't feel it. You know what I mean? It doesn't hit me in a way, because it was so. Because I think I've exhausted everything that I felt about that only in that period of time, which is why I'm a living nightmare for like business people, because it's like depending on how I feel, it's like this would come out. Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
But you're your own boss.
Yeah, I guess so. I would like to think so. I don't like taking orders too much.
But you own your label, right? It's all you.
Yes. Me and this other friend. We were Scott, by the way. We were a collective. I think we all came up in this. Starting with a few founding members, we started just as, again, like a bunch of kids, just doing it for fun. And I mean, I brought together all the people that we're in, and everyone else. Well, Scott especially helped structure this whole brand the day it is, you know. It's crazy. Yeah.
And it's continuing to grow.
I know, that's crazy. I guess it's such a it's insane. Like, you know, like we're here to just put on a show, you know, and we would hope people would enjoy it, take whatever they want from it. But at the end of the day, it is putting on a show for everyone. I got to keep reminding myself, this is why I do the things that I love doing, you know? And it is a nice friendly reminder when someone, you know, like yourself would say that, because I don't get enough time outside of what I do, especially when because right now I'm editing as well, and it's driving me insane.
Yeah, you're just too busy making it. You have no idea what is going on around you.
Yes, that is correct. So, you know, things like that, it's very nice to hear.
It's working.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
DPR IAN, listen to the music, please. It's called Mood Swings. That's the album. Put in your ears. What?
Oh, you are just so fascinating.
Oh,
right?
really?
So interesting.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad
much.
we did this.
Yeah, you're
1000%.
definitely easily like the coolest K-pop person we've had on, or ex-K-popper. I mean, because you're not an idol anymore.
Oh yeah,
You're an idol to me.
Oh yeah, cool.
In your current form.
Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah.
Well, I think the definition of idol is going to change over time.
Oh yeah, right.
I really do believe that. I know,
Zach.
like, you think I'm crazy.
No,
Nope.
I don't think
But
you're crazy at all.
Nope.
I do think
I
that
don't
there's
think
going to
you're
be
crazy.
different versions. Like, I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
America doesn't like perfect.
Right.
Like, our biggest stars are like, they look like me. Like, we're fat and we're ugly, and, you know, we like have zits and shit.
You're not ugly.
Okay, sure.
I can't.
I'll take the charity compliment. No, but like they look normal. You know, they look like they'd be among us. They
Yeah.
look like somebody you don't feel
Yeah.
intimidated to talk to.
Yeah. That's, for me, that's very idealistic. I think I like that a lot more. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I want to see that definition change.
Happening. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Definitely a lot more proud of that. Like, for me, I completely agree with you. I guess the genuinity, the realness of it, the rawness of it, that's what makes people relate more, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
They actually look like a friend. You can approach them. You're not afraid to talk to them. You don't feel less than by being next to them.
That's correct. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot.
I think it could happen.
Yeah. I believe you, though.
Let's see.
I believe you. It's what people want, I think,
mean,
deep down.
I've been a fan of K-pop.
Yeah.
The Wonder Girls are the first girl group to ever, first K-pop group to ever come on our show.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, that was
He
in
interviewed the Wonder Girls?
2009.
Wow, that is a while ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
2009, 2010.
Wow. My goodness.
I didn't
They've
realize
been doing
Zach
this for
was a
15
huge
years.
K-pop
Do you,
fan.
I mean, I'm sure you do, but like, does it ever get like too flustering for you too? Like, is this more?
Oh no,
If you get at a point,
you're in my fucking territory, motherfucker.
Right.
You're
Right.
coming into my zone. I'm in charge here.
Interesting. When you got into this position though, did you immediately kind of felt like you owned it, or did it take a lot of time for you to just meld into this?
Great question. There was two sides. So one side of what I do every day is like an audio diary with my friends. Like, I get a chance to talk every day about my life and talk about news and stories and all this shit that's going on.
Right.
That came natural because the reason I started a radio show to begin with was because I had no friends.
Mm-hmm.
I transitioned from a tiny Catholic school to a large public school. So like a tiny private school, 80 kids were in the whole school.
Yeah.
To a school that had 2,800 kids.
2,800. Wow.
And I had no friends. Nobody knew me.
My God.
And I would go for months, bro, on end where nobody would talk to me in the school hallways. Like, the teachers barely acknowledged me.
That's crazy.
So I had so much, like, almost like what you were saying in terms of you were deprived creatively. So when it was time for you to go, you had so much to say.
Yeah.
The second, like, I thought somebody was on the other side of the speaker listening to me was the second I just became the most free.
Interesting.
So this thing became my best friend.
Right.
The microphone as like a symbol, but really it was the people on the other side of the speaker. So what came really natural was sharing every aspect to my existence.
Wow.
I mean, to the point, like, when I get good news, like, my sister had a baby a year ago, and I found out 3 minutes later, I was on the radio telling everybody. Like, this is my friend.
Right.
So that came natural. So there wasn't much of a learning curve.
Right. Oh, wow.
But interviewing, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm sure there was a learning curve, and I'm sure there's been like, if you go back and because I've been interviewing people for 15 years, so like, and it started over the phone, and they were always longer than the usual. So yeah, I definitely was not nearly as comfortable as I am today. Like even a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Natural at it.
Yeah,
ultimately. Oh wow.
Well, definitely. Yeah. I care. Like I care about people. I'm innately curious. I also like understand that there's a root to everything. Like nothing just is.
Yeah, I think I realized that about. I mean, I've watched a few of your interviews.
Oh, thanks.
You have a very sensitiveness to understand, and therefore I think it really. You have this aura where you give the person that's being interviewed enough comfortability to like really just open up. I think that's gifted, because that's like you don't really see too much of that, even if people are interviewers or whatnot. It's that sensitiveness, and I think that detail is very impressive.
It goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
I think it is like it's funny, between therapy and I've been doing, I'm not bragging, but like the New York Times in America is huge, and they asked to profile me for their Sunday edition. So I've been I'll spend 5 hours with the guy writing a story, but like I'll spend 5 hours with him at one time and then spend another 10 hours with him in 2 different sessions. Right. So I sit down and I really, these conversations are the conversations we're having. Yeah. And I think a lot of it's empathy. I think, also it's like it's a deep understanding of like, I don't know, man. Like, you grow up like kind of poor, right, with a single mom, whose job it was to be a social worker in like the poorest city in New Jersey. Right. She gave up 37 years of her life to like take people off the streets and give them homes. Wow. Veterans, single moms, drug addicts, older people who were neglected by the system. Right. My mom dedicated
a lot of that to that.
37 years.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, making no fucking money, carrying everybody's story and their issues as it was her own. Okay, yeah. So I think that definitely plays into it. Right. And then also like, I don't know. I grew up very diverse.
Interesting. And so that's probably, would you say because of that made you like a very empathetic person?
Definitely. Yeah. Well, that, and that did. Also, my dad was a raging alcoholic forever. Oh gosh. My sister, is bipolar.
Oh, okay.
There's 1,000 different things. My extended family is from Honduras, so I watched like first generation Americans grow up around me. Oh, man. No, I have a crazy life.
Wow. Yeah. It's definitely, it's very interesting.
I wouldn't recommend being close, like lower middle class, poor to anybody, but like, it is what you make of it. Right. I was innately curious, and all I wanted to do was make friends, even though nobody really wanted to make friends with me. Right. So it all kind of...
I think it worked out then, really, didn't it? Like,
it
was like you were bubbling that up too, and then it just...
Totally.
Like, when you found the outlet, it was just like this, you just kind of... all these things that you're penting up, it just like exploded.
Somebody was there to listen, even though if nobody fucking was, because I knew eventually somebody would be.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful.
I had no idea that at a certain point there'd be 1.5 million people listening every night. Wow. I had no fucking clue. Couldn't have bet that one. But yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's I think that's amazing. It's such a beautiful story.
Well, I'll send you the New York Times.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you the New York Times.
I'm fucking around. I appreciate you even bringing it up. That means a lot because, people, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you.
Oh, yeah.
The conversations do go 2 ways.
Yeah. I was genuinely like, I wanted to point that out too. I really want to say that to you because, again, for me, it's very important because a lot of people like talking and even like, but not many people listen, I think, and again, it's a very hard thing too, like putting oneself down and really listening, really engaging.
But that's like what I love.
Yeah, see, that's amazing. That's so natural to you, and I think that too is a gift. Honestly, I know it's like you can just tell people to do that, but I always realized there was not too many people that are listening, like actually really listening.
There's a difference between like surface level listening and you're there.
Yeah.
But like I haven't looked away from you. Like maybe I looked away from you like once.
Yeah.
Like I listen.
Definitely. I can feel that from you guys.
But you're also super fascinating.
Oh yeah.
And that's coming from somebody who doesn't always listen.
Oh, that's me. There's sometimes, I'll be honest, in interviews where my mind's drifting in 1,000 places. The next thing I know, I'm like, well, I have no idea what was just talked about. And I just hope that I don't re-ask a question that was already asked. But you just, like, your story just locks people in.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. That's
I'm telling you, effortlessly cool and effortlessly beautiful.
Thank you. Oh my God, that means a lot. That means a lot to me. Yeah.
Beautiful soul.
Sure.
Y'all should listen to Mood Swings. Do it. DPR IAN. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Christian Yu.
Yes.
Still a cool name.
Still a cool name. I'll definitely go back to that then.
Keep doing what you're doing because it's definitely fucking working.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for spending your album release with us. I really couldn't appreciate it more, man.
No, absolutely. It's an honor. You know, I think this was the perfect place to do that. Yeah.
Well, our doors are always open. Our studio's always here, and hopefully this is the first of many.
Oh, of course. I can't wait. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
No, thank you.
DPR IAN, everybody.
Woo!
What a fascinating interview. He is just something else. Like, he's so honest and genuine about what he's like, his process, and going like deep into how like his lows and his highs, and bringing his mental illness to like awareness almost, and letting other people know that there's other people out there that are like that. You're not the only one type situation. He's just amazing person. So fascinating, literally. I know he's directed a lot too, but I just love now that he is actually doing his own work, music, videos, of course, because he edits and writes and does a lot of the music. He's just an all-rounder. Man, that was like, I could not stop. I was like just staring, and there was no words. I was just like, oh my word, this is so fascinating. Just listening to him. I could listen to him talk for days. He's just very intriguing. And he has his tone is just, when he talks, is so soothing to my brain too. But he is a very, very special human, I'll say. But yeah, guys, that's it. Hopefully this did not get blocked on YouTube and you are seeing this over here. But thank you so much for joining me on this week, exploring DPR IAN and his music, and a little bit more about himself. Next week we will be jumping into Heize, which will be another little fun one. I have a feeling I got quite the playlist going for her, and we're just gonna keep on going. So thank you once again. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next one.